This conference will now be recorded.
All right, are we ready? Calling it into order. Stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mike, that NV up on the screen doesn't bode well. Nate. Yeah, he ain't coming.
O Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen. All right, first item, as always, is public comment.
Who's first?
There we go.
I didn't know where, I thought it was on the bottom of the page.
It's the top and the bottom.
Johnny, do us a favor and tell us who you are and where you're from. Thank you, so we can put it in the record.
All right, I'm John Spencer from Owego River Road Bookshop, but I'm representing Owego Rotary Club Projects, which is Owego Rotary Club, and then we have a not-for-profit, Owego Rotary Project. And we apply for grants and stuff. And so one of the things I'd like to do is change the sentry columns at the end of the Court Street Bridge. They have sat empty for 20 years. There's nothing to them. I'd like to add something to make them become part of a park. And on one side, I'd like to dedicate to authors and poets, and on the other side for famous people who have come from our county and went out in the rest of the world. I'm not going to honor people who just stayed here, but people who did things at the national level. And so to do that, I'm going to put a little soapstone in each one that you can stand on and announce your new things. But anyway, I'm going to have brass plaques made up on the inside of the columns listing like 75 people total for counting both sides by a century. And then I have a QR code which you can link to, and it'll be a sound recording by Phoebe that will explain like a paragraph about each person. And so because it's state land, I went to the state property. I went to the state and they gave me the form, said, okay. And I went to ORBC and got approval, but now I go back to the state and I said, well, the village takes care of that property and you shovel the sidewalk and stuff. So I need your approval to do this project. I sent an email out of this, with a picture and stuff. So what it entails is just an 8-inch block, which will be marked, notable people on one side and authors, poets on the other side, or quotable people on the other side. And there'll be a little chain link fence behind it, linking it to the bridge, the design, just the two sides behind it, and not on the roadside or the front. And so it would become more of a little park and part of the Riverwalk extension of things to see and do. And so I was wondering what the next step is. Laura said I needed some approval from you and Seeker to go jointly with you guys to do this. Now I have the money, it's all raised to do it, and we're all set to go. I don't know what's next.
Got a little picture there?
Yeah, I don't have enough to go
No,
around.
that's fine.
That's,
You can pass it around.
I have a few.
Essentially, John just needs a letter of approval from the village to allow him to put it on village.
You know, I'm trying to
Right.
visualize the fencing part too. I'm trying to visualize when you're talking about the fencing part.
Just chain,
I see.
chain,
Okay, yeah.
chain that, look like this
It's not-
decoration.
Where would the chain go?
On the,
The back to the riverside and the side opposite the road,
Okay.
backside.
What is the purpose of the chain?
Just design,
I mean, it wouldn't be like a tripping
have a lot of
chain.
No, it would just be a little link, and it's the same green as the bridge.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what, we each one on this other side, I have three, I guess.
Actually, we've seen this always.
And so how tall is the bluestone in the middle? Like,
It's just gonna be centered, it's like 30 inches,
but is it like
no, 8 inches high.
8 inches? Okay.
Well, it's not like a bicycle, it's a,
Right, and it's not gonna be, it's gonna be, Richard's monument, it's gonna do it. It's not gonna be slippery. It's gonna be kind of a rough
Budget plans.
sand glass, you won't slip on it.
Right.
Okay, now I'm starting.
On the famous people part, how about on the other side?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I see, it's almost gonna be
So
like, not really like a
platform, I
bench,
don't-
but kind of a bench. kind of thing.
Well, it'll only be this.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
and then eventually you're gonna put we're gonna put the name
Will be on the inside,
of the
it
columns.
won't be visible out here, but on the inside.
Okay.
Oh, I know, it is.
Brass plaques.
Somebody for a while had a big bench there.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of makes sense when you're looking at it. Where this would kind of give it some definition. I like the idea of the chains to give it some definition too,
Yeah.
as opposed to just, something in the middle, like kind of lead you in a certain way. So that
You already
see-
know what I'm gonna say, I don't even have to say it. Couple of weeks to percolate it, look it over, see if there's questions we have, if there's unintended.
Right,
That's what I always say.
yeah, I don't know what the official process is, other than probably come back to us next meeting and we'll either say that we like it or we don't.
So.
Yeah, Johnny, that's generally one of the things we quite often do. We want to percolate it through, have a chance to talk to somebody, ask questions, talk
Okay,
about it a
and
little
then
bit.
these.
See if there's something we're not understanding or getting, or something we want different, that kind of thing.
The bluestone is an homage to the soapbox one could put in Hyde Park in
I think if
London
it's just.
and say anything they wanted. They could speak out against the king or talk about nonsense without any retribution.
Was that a rule if it were on a box or something that you could then do it?
Or if you're
Being
gonna,
on your soapbox.
Yeah, yeah.
This is an homage to that.
or if you wanna announce, I'm doing a new book, I can stand up and recite from it or say something, nobody may pay attention to it, but that's just a.
John, is there a time limit to the funding?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a limit to grant
So
funding?
we gotta do it
Well, I have
yesterday.
it fully funded.
Okay, but is there a time limit you have to have this done by? Okay,
Well,
so they've got time.
I suppose I'm in trouble with that. But, we've got the money, and I'll have to fight to get it back.
Okay.
So, no more questions, any more questions?
Sure, we're gonna have a few, but
I don't have any
I
yet.
don't have them right this minute.
Yeah, and I just asked Fred, like, they don't plow in there, so that's good, because you don't want to put a stone that's gonna hit the plow. Could the chains have one edge that you could unhook so that people, so
Sure.
if they wanted to clean it out, that was his question too.
There'd be two sides open.
Right,
Hoping
right,
this is-
Yeah.
but he just was wondering, like, that way they could, if they needed to get equipment or
Sure.
something, I don't know, just like some sort of filter gauges.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Okay.
Yep. I mean, the only issue we've ever had of those little things is a car hit.
that's the only time.
When they smash them.
There.
Yeah,
When is our scheduled next smash? Do we know?
We don't know.
Okay.
your next.
One car's gonna run into those things and smash them up.
We were lucky.
scheduled it.
Do you?
We actually had a heart attack.
Oh, that's sad.
We were lucky it was there, otherwise he would have went over onto the river walk probably.
Yeah.
It does have a purpose.
So, in the course of how many things there's always a problem. There's always a thing immediately my brain says, uh-oh, we're gonna put a block in there 30 by 30 by 8 inches tall. Can you get a wheelchair in there? Is there gonna be a problem with the ADA? That stuff is always around now. Just that, no, it doesn't mean that I'm just saying that's the kind of thing we gotta look at all that kind of crap.
I like doing something with those little houses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that
we've
idea.
talked about that those ought to have something nifty.
Well, a famous author, N.V. Willis, wrote a book called Letters from Under a Bridge. You know, here we are.
There we go.
You'd be one of the people we're honoring. Glenbury Drive.
Talking Street Bridge.
Do we have enough of these for me to keep this, or should I give this to somebody else? Dave, did you get to see one of these?
From a distance.
All right. So we'll come back to that in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Who else?
You can go next.
Peter?
So I'm Peter Gordon, representing the Friends of Evergreen. We were fortunate enough to get $5,000 from Jeff Garral. We wrote the grant to the Tioga Downs Regional Foundation for the purpose of wiring up the mortuary chapel. I gave you all ideas. Fran asked me to present this, and the end, to keep it short, the end of this is that we'd like the board's permission to move forward to wire up the chapel. There is electricity already. There is a service panel in the chapel. There used to be a wire up to the caretaker's cottage, and that was taken down. But in place of the plan that this Russian history major had drawn, we would ask that we defer to Fred's judgment on the specifics of putting in plugs and the like to code, so it meets the village standards. And already we've talked about this. We had planned for ceiling fans, but Fred said the purpose of keeping the chapel drier might better be accomplished by putting in 2 heavy dehumidifiers. So in the absence of very specific plans, we would ask that this just be done to code per Fred's expertise, and with simply overhead lights. We'd like to put school type lights and dehumidifiers rather than ceiling fans, which is probably a more stable result anyway. And then we'll come back to the village to decide a future use for the chapel. We think you should set rates to rent out as a small event space. The Friends would like to use it as a launch point for tours of the cemetery, walking tours, and to have some historical genealogical displays in the chapel. So, but we're asking the board to consider giving us permission to move forward on that basis, based on Fred, consultation with Fred.
Rusty, can I ask the obvious questions? So, do you already have the grant from Mr. Grell?
We have $5,000 in the bank.
Perfect. This is all good in all kinds of ways, and one way is that it's not a state grant, which means you can probably spend this however you want without all kinds of state interference. Perfect.
Right.
We do have that one little glitchy thing, and I don't know how it applies or doesn't apply, whether or not that money has to get, these things are going to be put in by the village, whether that money has to, or something has to go to the village. Remember, we had all that trouble.
Right.
I don't know how that plays.
So as I wrote there, any purchases of equipment or wires and the like would be done by the Friends. And we would gift that.
You buy the stuff and then gift the stuff you buy.
Exactly.
And then the last thing is, does $5,000 cover the things that right now that you want to do? There's not 10 grand's worth, there's 5 grand, take care of what you want to do.
Pretty much.
Just, no, you just, if it's 7 grand, then we got to find 200
There
grand.
was
I don't have it in front of me right now.
There was an estimate on the last page for about, what was it, $2,300 or something
I don't
like
remember.
that. So I think we should be good on this.
Those are the general questions that we would ask.
I mean, I don't have a big problem with it if it's all, obviously down to code and all that, so.
Well, I think it sounds great.
A ton of money, so I don't have to worry about, bidding or any of that kind of stuff, so.
Not that we have to ask him, but wouldn't hurt to ask. Kind of hard to put him on the spot right here. Fred, okay with you and your
Absolutely, I already told.
project, okay, and you're willing to be involved and spend the time and energy?
Yes, sir. Like I said, though, the humidifier in the product, good blend. Because it's so wet.
There is a dehumidifier there, but it's worn out.
That'll probably be the big chunk of the budget, really.
But I mean,
That's the action we need, Mike.
I guess just to approve them to go forward with the plan as presented here.
So moved. Move we allow
I'll second it.
however we said it.
Or, yeah, because this says complete under Fred Ulrich's sole authority and discretion. So, yeah, to ensure compliance with village codes and requirements.
I think
We got a motion and a second.
Yep.
Vote on that. Rusty?
yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
Thank you.
You guys are good?
And if it runs over, I mean, we can probably cover it. Yeah, sorry.
Keep us posted.
I'm Phoebe Morris on 250 Main Street. I'm also the new chair of the OHPC, and I'm here to support Fred and our code department. And not only am I part of the OHPC, I am a resident who lives right behind where the American Legion just put that giant electronic billboard in, and I can look out my bedroom window and see the glow. I can't see the sign, but boy, does it light up the whole side. So I am asking the village board to support Fred and the code department in their legal actions against the American Legion and let that move forward so that we can actually maybe get them to come to the table and remove this sign that was installed illegally. The other thing I have as a resident myself is to ask you on Church and Main to turn that into a four-way stop.
We actually, it's on the agenda tonight to talk
It's
about.
coming up.
And we have a
Because-
quote. We want a couple quotes of options there, so. we
Yeah.
got one of them.
As a resident who lives right next, within sight of that, that is a very dangerous intersection, lots of accidents, and a four-way stop would hopefully slow people down on the street.
Definitely on the table. Can't say that's what we're doing, but it's on the table. There. Who else? Wendy?
Hi, Wendy Geis, 383 Front Street. I'm here, I kind of have some questions. I've heard a lot of rumblings about this electronic sign on Front Street. And my understanding is that this is not an OHPC, this is a code issue. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
It didn't even come before us, it was just,
Okay.
Code and
Well,
zoning.
no, there's a lot of misinformation going around, and so I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth that I have the correct information.
Yep.
So this is a code issue.
I mean, it is an OHPC issue eventually, but right now it's a code and zoning issue.
Okay. And so my other understanding is that it's not that there can't be a sign there, and it's not that it can't be an illuminated sign.
Right.
It's just the type of sign that's there. Am I correct?
Yeah, so they're in a residential district, and the code is pretty specific on signs in a residential district, as far as the size and the type of lighting.
So they could have one like the one on Main Street
At the VFW?
at the VFW.
That's a new,
Technically, no,
that's
there's
a new fancy
big
sign.
sign, like, there's size restrictions.
Okay.
Main Street's in a different district.
Yeah.
There's size
Differently zoned.
restrictions and there are also how close to the sidewalk it can be.
Right.
It has to be a minimum of 8 feet and that's not 8 feet.
Right. Like, I think the size that they're allowed is about like this.
It's a little big on that. But
Really?
Yeah.
In a
Patrick-
residential district,
Patrick
yeah.
Osterhaus, he's
Yes.
across the street. He came to zoning and, they did scale the sign down and it worked out for him in the end,
Yeah. If you look at his sign, his is about as big as you can get.
Yes,
in the
yes, I believe
residential
it is
district.
in that area.
Rusty.
So the old sign there was a typical sign from years ago, and it would have white slots, and then you put black plastic letters up, and the illumination was a little bit of a tiny light that's shown on the sign, as opposed to these electric signs that are completely different than that. Now, whether even that old sign was technically legal, we've had them everywhere, and they were always assumed to be, but couldn't say.
Yeah, I mean, that might predate some of these laws too. That's pretty, yeah.
So the bottom line is that the sign is illegal based on code.
Right.
And whoever put it up knew that they weren't supposed to put it up before they put it up. Am I correct?
Yeah, they had no permits and there was actually a stop work order.
There was a stop work order and they violated the stop work order. Okay, just want to make sure that I have everything
So
clear.
that's where it's at. I know they've gone to court at least once or twice. I don't
Okay.
know.
So
We
I
can't talk
guess
about the details, but
my last question is the board supporting code?
yeah, in general, we do.
On this particular issue, is the board supporting code and the law that's set in the village?
Yeah, so any code issue gets handled and prosecuted by the district attorney's office.
Uh-huh.
It goes that route. There is another option, and they can chime in and help me out, but there's another option of doing a different type of lawsuit, which we haven't done yet. Rusty?
I think this is the way it is, but I'm not 100% sure, because that was kind of a weird little situation. There were maybe two levels of legal action that were going there. The code had written the tickets, et cetera, and I think those are still being pursued. We had also then had the option of taking legal action to sue the Allegiant for the sign, and that we put on hold. But I don't believe we told the code that they couldn't take their action about the illegalities. It's just whether we were going to sue them outside of that.
Okay.
I think, is that where we were?
That's true, and the district attorney actually moves along the code violations, in general, in any code violation.
So it seems to me that this could be quickly and easily resolved without spending money by any parties if they just were flexible and got a sign that was permitted. Is that correct?
Has been correct, yeah.
And they know that that is true. I mean, there's documentation somewhere. They know that they can have a sign, it just can't be that particular sign. Okay. And does the board need to take any more action on this?
Not unless we go that second route of the lawsuit,
Which is ridiculous.
right? And it's gonna cost a bunch of money if we do that, so.
Well, if that's the route that we would have to take, if these folks don't want to be in compliance, will the village do that?
That's a good question, but I would,
I mean, I would assume, like, just like any of us, we have to follow the rules that are on the books, correct?
Yep.
So, yes.
I don't think we're going to promise you what we're going to do right now, because we don't know what we're going to do right now. So we're not going to tell you we're going to take them to court and we're going to fight. I'm just saying, if you're looking for that definitive answer, we're not prepared to give that. I don't
Can you give
think.
me a definitive answer if the board is going to follow the laws of the village? That's a yes or no question.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're doing that with pursuing the code violations. And
Okay,
that, none of that has stopped.
okay, all right. So I just want to kind of stand behind what Phoebe said. I mean, this is ridiculous that they moved forward with a project that they knew they couldn't move forward with in defiance. I mean, really, that's what this is about. Nobody in the village is saying they can't have a sign. They just can't have that particular kind of sign. And I think it would be awful for the board not to do everything in their power to make sure that this goes down the way it needs to based on the laws that we have, because then that would make this board impotent if you don't stand up and do what's needed to be done. And you're all kind of volunteers. I mean, I know you get paid, but you're a volunteer as far as I'm concerned.
We all do
Probably
very
you get
little.
paid.
Yeah.
And so it would be a shame to waste everybody's time. So anyhow,
Yeah,
thank you.
One more piece, sorry.
Sure.
We've explained this to our friends at the Legion, and some of us belong to the Legion, that we don't have the methodology to do the thing you want. We can't just say, oh, we like you and we vote to let you have that sign. There are rules and laws. We don't get to break them. And we can change the rule or the law if we so chose, but that's complicated. But we can't just say that we don't, oh yeah, just forget it. It's okay with us. We don't have that ability.
Especially when it's a zoning issue.
Right. Okay.
We don't get those powers.
All right. Great. I'm glad to hear that this is being done the way it should be. Thank you.
Who else we?
My name's Corey Rowley. I was here a couple weeks back about the timber on Division Street. I was interested in purchasing it, and I don't know if you guys put it on an agenda or thought about it. If there's some thought about it.
So then you look.
Or in where the creek floods and these things, I'm just saying that surprising that they don't include those lands right at the creek. I don't know the details.
Well, everything that I marked or looked at and marked.
So what do you guys like to do?
Personally not interested in it.
Okay.
Because there's the management of the trees and all the stuff of the riparian buffer along the waterways. It slows down the rush of the water when there's a creek or when there's like a flood. All the trees in it, the infiltration, it cleans the water as it comes in. And so like having all of the more trees, the better. And so what we do need some land management of taking down some of the hemlocks there's a huge strand over there that are dying, and for putting in trees in their place that would grow quicker to like rebuild our buffer areas. And so that's the kind of stuff that I want to see developed over there on that land. So it's like more of
The only issue is like, I don't know if you've been over there, but that whole bank is washing out. It's just a matter of time before it's, so, I mean, I figured that, it goes either way. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's just a matter of the management. The hemlock's not bringing any money. I was trying to figure a way I just logged the left side of it, our property, and I was just trying to find a way to generate money throughout the village to help both ways, but.
So it's like what I'm looking for is like putting in stuff so that we can protect against it washing out. And so the more like natural land management that we can do, the better.
So you're
we can
talking,
protect
instead of
our
me giving the
structures.
village 6,500, you want to spend 100,000? Virtually. I get it.
More development of the
Well, I
natural
get
resources
that
to
makes
protect
sense.
our infrastructure.
And then the next question I had was, I wonder how I can, it's no hidden secret that this goes against the sign concept. Fred and his guys come over to 6062 West Main, and I obliged him. Do you agree, Fred? Like, you know, when you guys come over to the industrial paint place, the foundry, I could have made it very hard for them. But I know, for respect for the village, it's not what we should do. So I don't understand why it's not so cut and dry about the sign. I'm just trying to understand it. I don't understand why the village isn't, because pretty much DEC come in, I have to spend $150,000 to clean that place up. I could have very easily left it the way it was, but I'm trying to do, you know, the management concept you got. I just don't understand the sign thing. I'm just trying to get to understand it. Like, why is it so hard? What? Because everybody knows, and who's dealt with me, is I'm a guy who asks for forgiveness instead of permission. So I don't understand why it's dragging out so long. Can you explain that to me?
As far as,
Like, what's
The Legion sign, you mean?
Yeah, the sign, it's pretty easy. Sign's gonna come down, right?
well, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You know,
It's in that process.
I think the property owners at 263 Front Street felt like they were gifted a sign. They kind of asked about it and they were told they couldn't use the sign. It sat there for 2.5 years. And then, although they knew they weren't supposed to put it up, they decided to put it up anyway. You know, all the other places around there have gone and tried to put in the appropriate signs, and most of them have done a very nice job. I mean, I really think all of them. It just doesn't seem fair that those property owners can kind of do what they want, and then, you know, it's a residential area. It's not like, you know, and I mean, I think we need to like start revisiting some of these signs that have come in too over the years, because you said some of them have come in without the proper.
And the reason I bring that up is because previous to this board's good. It's still a hidden fact that I have some issues, and I would cause issues, and it would be a hobby for me at one point. And I don't understand, you know, at some point, you just, you know, you make your precedents and say, this is how it's gonna be, and that's it, right? Like, isn't that how it should be, or am I wrong?
Well, unfortunately or unfortunately, we have to follow New York State laws and processes. And sometimes those processes take a long time.
It's grinding along slowly, too slowly for many people. But it's in the process. The code knows, the code issues the tickets. We're taking them to the DA, they're taking them to court. So all these things are happening. It's just not happening as fast as people think that it should happen.
So Rusty, you're a member of that.
Of the American Legion,
organization.
yeah.
Like, they must have meetings or a board or something, like,
Yeah, they do.
have you told them that like what they're doing is illegal?
And for whatever value it is, when it comes here, I recuse myself from action on that
Oh, well,
because
you should.
I belong there.
Well, you shouldn't.
Well,
Because
but I believe that's a conflict of interest, and so I do.
Well,
But either way, yeah, they've heard from me and from everybody.
And so they're just.
But once again, the fact that whether they're flouting it, the process is moving along. The process hasn't been halted. It's moving and it's turtle way.
And then, so on the tree cutting, we're no interest.
Well, so Laura's not interested.
Well, again, I'm talking too much as usual. To be honest with you, Corey, because of so many things were going on, we really didn't, we got your presentation and stuff and we put it over here, but we really haven't thought about that and looked at that and thought through that. Just because it's not that we haven't decided something, because we haven't talked about it and we haven't, once again, what's the upside, what's the downside, what's this, what's that. So I expect the turtle process again will we'll probably look at your thing and come to some
Do you want me to
decision or answer.
put it on for next time?
That'd be
I
fine.
think that would be
But just
Take
like
it, Rob.
always, some things we're
No, I
real
get
slow
it.
on.
The only thing I'm trying to express to you guys is that, you're gonna drive a wedge between the board and the citizens because, and I'm just trying to, as an outsider, trust me, everybody knows I've done things in this village nobody likes, and I did not ask for forgiveness. Now I've matured, and I've grown, I've done better things, and it's just like, now I'm watching these people do it, I'm like, man, like, it's, and I know the position everybody's in, trust me, because I've been in a position and I put people in a position. And I just feel like, I feel at some point you guys are gonna drive a wedge between, I don't live in a village, it doesn't matter to me, the lights don't shine in my room. But as an outsider, I'm trying to speak volume to the situation, I mean, I just think it's gotta be addressed on your end, or legal actions, or something's gotta happen. 'Cause, I mean, I know it's not the Wild West, you go cut the sign down and lasso it back, but in the same token, I've been to 3 meetings now, and I think this has been the head of every meeting. So I just hate to see that, you guys who volunteer your time, just, you gotta get the same answer. People want answers, you don't have answers, I get it. But the last thing I wanna address is that, September-ish, we run a lot of demolition derbies. New York State Fair used to host, championship derby. And everybody who won a county fair was elected to go to that state fair. So there was roughly 80, 90 cars for that championship. I've pitched it to 37 of the county fairs, and they all love the concept. So what we're doing is we're trying to find one county fair that will allow us, any county fair will let me do it, but Owego's my hometown, Tioga's our hometown. So I don't know if we got a full application to rent the fairgrounds, or, Eric Johnson loves the concept, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a championship derby. Everybody who's won a county fair comes to the championship, which we wanna host in Tioga, just because it's my home fair. I think the track can do it. Eric's pretty good about it. Jimmy Morris has been pretty good about it. We've all talked about it. I wanted to put you guys on notice that it might be a possibility that we wanna try to do it here. Potentially it would be a 2-3 day event, 2-day event, and we're looking to bring between 3,000 and 5,000 people. Demolition derbies, they're just expanding, and when we got the state fair eliminated motorsports, so there is no championship. So we're trying to build the championship back. So, if you win Tioga, you used to go to Syracuse. Now we're trying to make it, the championship's gonna be at Tioga. That's what our goal is. Just someone put you guys on notice, that's what we're trying to do. So if something does happen or arise, is there an application process?
Yeah, so if you work with the fair board, which would be Eric and Jimmy, they should come to us and ask us about it.
Okay.
How it should work.
We're talking, we're gonna have like a $10,000 payout, and, we're trying to, it's gonna be kind of the next level concept. So
And we can always bug them about it too, you know what I mean?
they're pretty adamant on, like, they were the ones that actually let me come to Ioga, because we were gonna go to Walton, and then we talked about weed sport, and then, but, I think that, you guys have been exceptionally well with the fair, and the fair works well with me, and I think that the village of Owego or Tioga County probably be the best place for us.
Yeah, we'll just make sure we have to, somebody, probably the fair board for the ones running it, we'll have to make sure we get all the right permits.
Is our track and that little square we built in there, is that big enough for the?
Yeah,
for
Eric
the thing?
actually, he said you could extend the ends.
Yeah, except he can't.
Okay.
We have to do that. No, I'm just saying, the fair board doesn't have, it's not their property, they don't have that authority. So that doesn't mean it can't happen, but yes, you do need to come to the village board for all of this. The fair board doesn't have authority over that, other than at the fair. Doesn't mean fair board's not valuable and good folks and can help put this all together in a particular way, but it won't be up to them.
Well, it's one of them deals, here's where I stand on it. If I put the work in, I'm getting the money. So, but, you know what I mean? But if I could get the village or somebody, the fair board, I'll front the $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to make it happen. But when, people start coming in, I'm good with the money in my pockets versus the fair board or whoever the case is. So maybe me and the fair board could work together.
The fair board wouldn't actually have any monetary part of this. It's not theirs. They don't do it. They don't have it. I'm just saying, so whatever you set up wouldn't have to be, you have to have a contract with them and give them 10 grand or something, because they, unless they're gonna put it all together and you're gonna do something like that, that wouldn't be the case. And the village doesn't generally want to make a large profit, but we want to be whole. So whatever services we supply, et cetera, and those can sometimes be a good little chunk of money for police. You're gonna need ambulances, fire, all that kind of stuff. So, what's that? Clean up, all of it, yeah. So there's a pile of expenses, but those are just things. We don't generally look to make a big chunk of change. We just want to we don't want to spend a bunch of money.
So answer would be I do the village instead of the fair board, correct?
Yeah, unless it's some sort of I mean, they run the demolition derby for the fair, so they may know more than we do about doing something like that.
It's not even about, I'm just trying to respect the fair as a whole. I don't even need the fair. We ran many productions without the fair. We were the first ones to run independent shows without fairs. It's just, I want to know the answer on who do I speak to about the fairgrounds.
Legally, the village owns that whole park, except for the 1 week of the year when the fair owns it.
Okay.
And they own the Tioga County Agricultural Society owns the far end of where the cattle barn and stuff is. They own that piece.
4-H bar and that kind of stuff.
We own the rest of the fairgrounds. But once again, we talk about this stuff all the time. Including the fair board and those folks in on all of this is excellent. Because we need more partnerships and less fighting and territory and stuff. So talking with them and including them is a good thing, although don't exclude don't exclude the village and just play with the fair board, because we're gonna have to decide eventually.
You'll probably want the help of the people on the fair board.
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah.
Yes, no, it would be nice, but we're trying to, we don't want to make, the problem is the fair boards are at each other's throats, like it's wild, it's crazy. So we're trying to make it one spot. So our goal is, and it's still hidden secret, my brother was probably one of the best in the country demolition derbies. He's won Vegas, he won 37 of the 42 county fairs, he was one of the best. So we're trying to make it back a whole again, a demolition derby in Tioga County that is just, that's our end game is. But is there a fee sheet by any chance, like what you guys charge or?
No.
Because our initial goal is we were gonna do it at the Broome County Arena. That was our goal, parking become an issue. They got a fee sheet for everything, break down to security, to this, to how much the rental is per day, so you guys have that by any chance? Or?
So we can get you some of that as far as security and whatnot. There's an hourly figure from the police.
That's more expenses than fee.
Right.
The only thing we want you to do is pay for that new bathroom down there. What's that now, 600 grand or whatever. Yeah. Other than that, no.
But we have rented the fairgrounds to other groups, right? We just had the
monster truck
people there and a monster truck. Well, that was all the fair. Was the circus.
Okay.
But so it's happened before. So we don't have a set thing. We just develop a contract for that specific event. Okay.
So as usual, you're here and you're communicating. Continue to do this as you're sniffing along at it, and you're finding out from the state and the other guys, and you're sniffing along, but you haven't got it all set up. Keep talking to us, keep communicating with us and the fair board and all your other people.
I appreciate it.
Like Rusty says, our goals typically are to leave the place how we found it. We don't typically make a ton of money off of that. We like to see people use it. And then, check all the boxes and get all the right permits and that kind of stuff.
And you're talking September 2025?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because that gives you a lot of time.
Well, because the state championship used to be on Labor Day. So that's kind of what we're shooting for. Keep the same path going. There won't be no rides. We carry $2 million insurance, all that good stuff. Right. It's just a simple demolition derby family event. We're gonna keep tickets feasible for people to come. I mean, I get it. I watch the fair get butchered every year because people say $12 too much, whatever. I mean, we're gonna try to do the best we can to keep it fair across the board, so.
I know there is some stuff that we have to do for the fair for the grandstands. I don't know if we have to do it. Similar stuff
Yes.
for that.
You'll
Probably.
have to.
We have to get them
Just put the extra
certified.
side back up. It's not a big deal.
State comes in like a week before the fair and certifies that they're compliant.
The county will have to do the same thing, come in for food.
So it will probably, yeah, we'll have independent vendors that can deal with that. It's
Right,
just-
and you'd have to go get registered with the county.
It's a thought moving
Yeah.
forward. I mean, like, every county fair wants us there because the goal is, the end game is, if you're that good of a derby guy, you should be able to win in any county. So each year we want to move, this year we're going to be to that time, next year for Rome, year after Chemung. That's the goal. But right now we're trying to start with Tioga because I think it'd be probably the easiest for me.
Nicely centrally located.
Yeah. I like it. Good idea.
I appreciate it.
Mike, one more little thing, I'm grinning a bunch of times. I don't want your hat to get too big for your head. We know you forever and ever and ever. And a number of us said, as all this stuff has been going on here for the last weeks, and we said, and of all the people here that have spoken, the guy that made the most sense was Corey Relia. He had the most trouble with the law, and he's one that spoke for the law. But we were just getting the greatest, and I don't mean to disrespect you, I mean, it was respect for you. We were having the greatest smile about that. Thank you for your stuff.
I don't know how you guys keep your composure. I mean, I get it, stuff about, I used to be that guy. I mean, I can create a mess at 62. But you know what? I did the right things. EC come in. I mean, that thing is good. That's a mess. I appreciate Fred going in there and helping with the homeless, and the OPD was helping, and, we cleaned the place out the last couple weeks, and I don't know if the end game is there, but I know the end game is to spend a lot of money, I guess. But no, I really appreciate it. That means a lot.
What else we got?
Anybody else?
Who we missed?
Hi there, I'm Karen Holm, 348 Front Street. I'm a village people who live in the village. I also live a couple blocks away from the large flashing billboard. I can see that sign both from my front yard and backyard, but I'm actually not here to talk about the sign. But just FYI, I work the same place as you, and I walk at night, and I have to cross the road. I get 30, 40 feet within that sign. I can't see it anymore. It's blinding, right? I end up crossing the road, which means I have to walk on the side of the street where there is no sidewalk, which means I actually walk in the street, there's a car coming, and they have lights forcing me back. So I know you guys are all doing the right thing, everything seems to be moving in the right direction. But the thing that I actually wanted to talk to you about was all of this drama around that sign. I think some of that drama could have been prevented by simply, asking people to identify who they are, right? I mean, it seemed to me, I'm a veteran, by the way. Are you a veteran?
No, I'm not. I'm a member of the Legion, but
Oh, okay.
my dad's a Battle of the Bulge veteran. My dad's a Battle of the Bulge veteran.
I'm a member in that I'm a veteran. I'm not an auxiliary member or a social club member. I'm a veteran. I served 5 years in the Marine Corps. I deployed twice overseas.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that, but serving it's a personal choice. I mean, everyone serves, right? I mean, we're all serving. Most of you are volunteering in the village as well. So we're all serving in different ways. I don't mean to disparage anybody's service or anything, but this whole sign thing seems to have been instigated by people who are not veterans, right? I mean, the people person purchased the sign, procured the sign, ordered the sign, erected the sign, even the person who the sign was dedicated to. And as a veteran, it's kind of a slap in the face to us. So any other veterans here? Well, that's pretty much the same answer I get anytime I do go down to the Legion, right? I was down there a couple nights before you guys took the boat to put everything on hold. And super nice people, very friendly, very chatty. They've been there for a while. And I had to ask after meeting a few of them, I was like, any other veterans here? No, the answer was no. No other veterans there. And that bar was packed. There was 20 people there, and I was the only veteran. It's not really my scene. It's not my thing. The few times I have been there, when I've seen veterans, they're usually sitting off in the corner, talking amongst themselves. And that's really what we want as veterans. We just want a place where we can get together with other veterans, spend some time with them, our families. You know, we don't do it, people say thank you, we don't do it for the 10% off discount we get at Home Depot one day a year on Veterans Day. And we certainly don't do it for a big blinking sign that's intruding on people's homes and in some cases on their health, right? So I just wanted to say it would be good if we could, maybe somehow kind of verify some of the people coming here, because there were a number of people here that don't live in the village, that are coming here to speak for veterans that aren't veterans, right? And I don't know, this might be a question for Nate, but it can, I think there needs to be a provision that says that if you guys ask for identification, people should have to provide that. And people should be signing in, and a lot of people weren't signing in. I mean, there were 6 people that night. I saw the signage. There were 6 people that night that signed in and listed their address as the Legion, right? Steve DeBarney's always been really good to me. He's a sweetheart. I've known him for about 20 years. I borrow flagpoles for them for when I go to powwows. I represent my community as a veteran. Super hardworking guy, extremely resourceful. But, unless he's renting out rooms at the Legion now, those people are lying, right? They're claiming to be your constituent. They're claiming to be taxpayers. They're claiming to be residents here, and they're not. So again, is there something? So how do you know who a veteran is? No, it's on their driver's license. I don't know if you guys know that. It's on our driver's license. And it's also on our phones. The VA has an app for that, believe it or not. So there's a couple ways you could identify, verify people. I hope it doesn't come to that again. I hope people realize that they're going to get called out. But I would really like to see this board move forward with this, putting things right. I would also like to see, people be more respectful. Again, there were some people here, don't live in the village, spoke on behalf of veterans. Some of them also admitted that they weren't veterans, but they went ahead, spoke, and in speaking, they swore at you. They used profanity. They they yelled. They berated you. Some of them made threats. That's not right. So maybe if we do a little bit better job of asking people to verify, tell us who they are, maybe we can prevent some of that, because, you guys work hard, you don't need to be subjected to that. And you represent us. So when somebody's swearing at you, they're swearing at your constituents and your residents. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, for information?
Sure.
And I'm proud of this. The Sons of the American Legion have years ago stepped up, because American Legions and all of our clubs everywhere, especially VFW's American Legions, are dying. Obviously, the veterans are dying, and people don't join them. And so many places, and certainly in Owego, the Sons of the Legion have stepped up to try and keep that club alive. So a lot of those people that you see are that. They didn't serve, but their dad served or their mom served. They're Sons of the Legion. So I'm just telling you, that's how that whole thing works when you go in there and you don't see a bunch of veterans, or you see them who are trying to keep that alive and keep it alive for everyone, for the veterans, et cetera. So just little information on that, on how that all goes together there.
Yes, I've been made aware of that.
Yeah, okay.
Can I ask you that? What do you guys pay as far as the membership for being a Sons of?
We pay the national dues are $30 a year to be a member of the Sons. And we do almost all well, because boy, in the day, you'd go down there at 8 in the morning and the guys from World War II would be in there, and it was great. But they're all gone. And we have some veteran, gosh, now Vietnam guys are getting real old and tired. But they keep it alive. We run it. We put on every event. We do everything. We do all the. We do it. We do it for the community. We do it for the veterans. We do it for all that.
So I looked on the website for the New York State for the auxiliary, which I understand auxiliary members are different than.
That's different than the Sons.
Yeah. They pay like $5 a year to be auxiliary members. You guys pay $30 a year. As a veteran, I pay $55 a year. Not like you guys are giving me a discount on the beer at the bar, or a meal. I mean, so, you're right. It's sort of a dying.
It's a shame.
Which is tough. I know my son, when he came back, 4 combat tours, came back here, he's the reason I joined the Legion. He asked me, Mom, let's go, he was missing his buddies. He came back here, they finished grad school, so he could go back and get a commission. And I'd go back in as a commissioned officer. And there wasn't anyone there for him to talk to. He ended up going to the VFW, but it was kind of heartbreaking. He was looking for that companionship. He was looking for other vets. It's not going to talk to Mom. Nobody talks to Mom, right? But I understand there's people there with the right intent, but again, they don't speak for the veterans. We have our own voice. We can speak for ourselves.
Another time, and plenty of time. Another time we'll talk about not in our village board meeting. We're trying to do this village. We'll talk forever about the shame of this country and how they treat their veterans when they come home. But that's another story for another day.
I'm not complaining.
I am about that. Sorry, Mike.
All right, you're good. Anybody else? I think we covered everybody.
Second round?
Let's go to department heads. Start with Dirk. Short and sweet.
November, haulers took a nosedive on us, pulling in about 283,000 gallons for only about 18 grand worth of processing costs. Speaking of haulers, we have a new hauler that's been checking us out, and they decided to sign up with us from Spencer Vanette in the area. Hopefully that'll boost us a little bit. A couple weeks ago, the heater in our press room died. It was a waste oil burner, about 50 years old. It's since been replaced with a propane unit. I just wanted to give a shout out to Scott Smith and Son, who stepped up to help us with propane issues, moving, studying, usage. And also a shout out to Glenn Martin, who did a ton of legwork, because the big thing was that barn is not hazardous, but there is stuff in there that kills machinery. So he went to a huge amount of work to get us a good unit that is actually warranted. And also Paul Card and crew that did all the setup and testing. And it was a pretty cheap unit, under $5 grand for it. Let's see. What else? About a month ago, the former director of utilities for the sewer department approached me and offered possible part-time service and on-call. We have since talked about it. we came to kind of an agreement of about $35 an hour to be on call. That allows up to 1,000 hours a year, which might not even approach that.
Could you just say the hours again?
What was that again?
How many hours a year or something, what do you
Be
say?
1,000 hours.
Up to.
Because according to New York State retirement, he's only
That's
allowed to make 35 grand.
To get the waiver, you 35 grand match.
He was happy with that amount, and that gives us a lot of hours that we can possibly utilize. Some of it will be actually scheduled on-call hours, but somebody with 30+ years of experience offering to help out under what anybody else would be charging us, we just couldn't pass that up.
Well, that's, again,
And that's about it for me.
Is that mostly just to be on call? Is that for him to come and do things, or is that for him just to be on call?
Like I said, some days like this week, we've actually scheduled him, or he's agreed to come in Thursday and Friday. We got a list going, he can take a look at it, work on what he can. If we have to call out to, say, Kester or somebody to come in, then he's free. But in the past, more and more times, we have been able to call him out of the woods and have him give us answers we need. This makes it a little more formal.
he's been helping us since he retired for free, basically.
Yeah. And just for the money part, if we've got a guy making, the numbers are just close, $22, $23 an hour, and we call him in, we're paying him time and a half, he's getting $35 an hour and benefits. And if we get Tracy to come in, who knows everything, can do everything, that's money well spent.
Yeah, that's
A lot of experience.
kind of on the cheap.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
So do we need a motion to
Hire him part-time.
hire him part-time at $35 an hour? We could put I'm not making a motion yet, but just get the verbiage right. We could put in a minimum of 1,000, but to be honest, a maximum of 1,000, but to be honest, that's less our problem than his problem with his waiver.
Correct,
And that is something that we talked to Nikki, that she can keep track of hours through HR to let us know month to month or whatever.
But that's kind of on him to make sure he doesn't work too many and doesn't get into his
Like you
retirement.
said, it's not really our problem per se.
But we don't want it to happen to him.
Right.
So a motion to hire, Dave, you want to do it? You want me to do it?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to hire back Tracy Babcock as a part-time employee at $35 an hour, up to a maximum $1,000 a year for assisting our sewer plant as well as training and consulting our younger sewer plant members.
Dave, I would second that, but just as we were just talking about, I'd like to take out up to $1,000 hours a year, because once again, if he's willing to, if there's a need and he's willing to work more than that and somehow waivers have things, do we want to limit that?
I'd like to take it upon myself to limit that because we don't want to do something to harm his retirement package.
No, but you understand what I was saying. Of course, we don't want to do that. I'm just saying if there was a reason that we wanted to have him more than that, we would have limited it. I seconded it anyways. What's that, Charlie?
Cross that bridge when we get to it.
Right. It's probably okay either way.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So that's the motion. Any discussion about it? Shall we vote? Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yeah.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. And yes. Anything else? And that was effective immediately, correct?
Immediately, yeah.
Okay. Very. Got all the bad news for us?
Yeah, bad news.
Fire truck was supposed to be here Saturday.
Going on the ladder truck.
It failed its final inspection. It's a synchronization issue. So when it gets retracted in, you have to sync it so it comes down square. And apparently it was off.
Oh.
So that's being worked on this week. Hopefully it's gonna be here Saturday and be in service by Sunday. Right now, we're at 28.5% increase from calls from last year. 18% of those are from 5 Brown Lane and their new alarm system. Fran asked me to run the numbers, so I did real quick before I came.
She's on sick tonight.
Yeah, so 18% are because of the new alarm system at 5 Browns Lane.
Perfect.
Less than 5% come from 138 Southside Drive, so that's good.
They got a better alarm system.
Yes.
You know, on a private one, if you come 3 times, you start paying.
I know, right?
I looked into that. As
Yeah.
long as it's the same, I was told if it's the same apartment 3 times within 30 days. Because they're all considered a different address because of the apartment number. I looked into that.
I take it.
The ladder truck is going to be roughly $50,000 for repair. In addition? Total, 50,000. I went back over the last 3 years' budget. I see where we were awarded a FEMA grant in the amount of $42,000 that we were never paid. I reached out to FEMA, worked with, I can't think of the guy's name. I know his first name's Mike, but he's the one that facilitated the grant for us. He reached out to FEMA, I reached out to FEMA, they granted us an extension. So hopefully by the end of January, we will have that $42,000.
Do we have to do something for this extension?
Nope.
We want that by January 20th.
Kim is aware, it's all on there. And it's supposed to be transferred into our account, which will pay for a majority of the ladder truck repairs.
Wow.
The other 8,000 will come from my maintenance budget, which is plenty. So
Yeah.
Good news there.
Yeah, that's better news than we
Get that.
Yes. So thank you to Kim for
What was the FEMA grant for?
the air compressor that fills our SCBA bottles
Oh,
like 2-3 years ago.
yeah, right.
So we paid it and never got reimbursed. And they said, yep, there it is. It's sitting out here, but you got to get an extension. So reached out to our FEMA rep and he said, let me work on it. Same day, he said, yep, it's been granted. So
We already paid it, but we never submitted to get.
to get reimbursed. Yep. So, yeah,
Good job.
thanks. It's been stressful.
Is that all you got? Is that it?
Unfortunately, we did have Ken Easton resign as assistant chief due to health issues. At Fire Board, we have elevated Mike Hopkins to 873, and Tom Kelly is coming on board as our deputy chief with your approval.
I'll make that motion.
Let's say we have 2 of those motions on the agenda.
Let's do them one at a time.
I'll make that motion to approve Michael Hopkins as second assistant chief of the Village of Owego Volunteer Fire Department.
Second.
Okay, a discussion about Mike. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
And I also make a motion to approve Thomas Kelly as the deputy chief of the Village of Owego Volunteer Fire Department.
Second.
Okay, any discussion about that? Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
And in addition to that, we have 2 members of the EMS who are resigning from the Owego Fire Department in good standings. And they would like to be removed from the role.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys kept a roster of our guys or not.
Yeah.
So we should, I don't know if we do or not, but we should.
I will get it, make sure you guys have the most updated copy then.
Mike, yeah, we talked about this because the steps of getting in and the steps of getting out. And so when somebody resigns from a company and then resign from the department, I believe that we should release them from the village roles as
Recognize it somehow.
Yes.
as fire. So I'm gonna, do you want to make it on the amendment?
I'll make that motion.
I want to make a motion that we accept Robin Shaver's resignation from the Owego Fire Department. She's no longer a member.
Second. Do we want to say in good standing or anything?
That's not actually our
Right.
purview, that's the
We're
fire
just
department's
accepting what
purview.
we got. Okay. So, unbelievable. We should grab one on that. Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
Make a motion, we accept the resignation of Steve Riesbeck from, I don't know, yeah, because we formed the company, so my previous motion, Rodney, was from company twos. Because in our charter, we put the people in the company, so. And Steve Riesbeck from, we accept his resignation and no longer on the village fire department from company twos. Steve Riesbeck.
Okay, Charles seconds that. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
And as I said, I think we should be doing this all the time now on EMS, on fire, to make it clean.
And I'll make
That
sure,
process makes sense.
yeah, I'll make sure you get the updated rosters from Kelly. Anything for me? Anything?
Thanks, Chief.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
for doing what you're doing. Oh, yeah, I guess should we bring up, so on our old business, we have the town of Owego fire contract. So we need to visit that.
Yes.
With Nate, who's on the tube. That needs to become a thing.
Okay. Do you need me to do something?
That's what we need.
Yeah, I guess we'll all get together at some point here and talk about how we move forward with it. Right, Nate, is that a good plan?
Yeah, I'd emailed their legal counsel, Pinsky, I think last week, and haven't heard anything back from him yet, so I can reach out to him again.
Okay. I just don't know.
Budget.
We have, yeah, and I don't know who the contact is out in Owego. It used to be Frank. I don't know if it still is or not.
Catalano's, he gone?
Right, it used to be him, but I don't know.
So it's a whole new administration.
Right.
I'll find out.
That's something we need to look at, 'cause
Yeah.
you're right, we haven't been paid in 4 years.
No.
And we're still responding out there
Absolutely.
every 2 minutes. Putting out mulch.
Yes. Yeah. Wheels and turn a flame.
Thought that was in front of the steamer house.
It's a backup.
All right. EMS.
So far this month, we've had 55 mutual aid, 53 calls, one mutual aid. Helps if I just read what I wrote. We have one resignation, which is Sean Bogart. So we need to ask you guys to accept his resignation.
I'll move to accept the resignation of Sean Bogart from the EMS.
Second.
All right. So Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
As far as our vehicles go, 2031's doing well, no issues. 2032's in New Jersey, and we'll be there till July when it should be done with the re-chassis process. The one outstanding thing the mayor and I have been, or I should say, I've been emailing and copying the mayor on is our State Department of Health is going to want us to have dash cams in the ambulances as a part of their upcoming changes that they're proposing. So with that being said, we need to pick one, get it in the build spec and all that kind of stuff before they finalize it. So I got to start working on that so we can figure out what we want to do and how we want to do it. So that way they'll be in them and we don't have to worry about it and it's already said and done. 2033 is running strong at 163,000 miles with no issues at the moment. 2034, our safe arrived today after over a month of me pulling my hair out, which is why I keep it short. We're going to try and get that installed tomorrow along with the radio, and hopefully within a few days we can get it on the road and get it making money for us. 2051, no issues, and Justin was generous and got us some new winter tires for it, so that way we can go anywhere in the village we need to.
Who was generous?
Huh?
I thought you said somebody was generous?
Justin.
So mechanic, bouncer tires.
Thank you. So our new video laryngoscope training has been completed. We're working on getting everybody familiar with them, and then they can put together the documentation and get them in service. We're going to figure out how we're going to store the videos and all that kind of stuff still. Cotton Medics is coming tomorrow with the stretcher parts that we need for the 2 stretchers. They'll fix those and get them up to 100%. And then hopefully they'll have enough time to service 2034 as well, because they didn't get to do that last time they were here. We did our Life Pack 35 demos, so that was complete. So now we got to discuss which avenue we're going to take with which monitor company and how we're going to do that, since the Life Packs are end of life. The biggest fear is that we don't want them to get into a situation where they're just going to die on us. So it's a delicate balance. Narcotics license. We have been unable to get an editable copy from previous leadership, so we got a PDF copy that we had to format and all that stuff, and there's a lot of errors and formatting issues. So we're trying to fix that. It's very time consuming and a challenge, so we're struggling with that. I've been working with the state and giving them additional updates and that kind of stuff. Seems like they're going through some changes as well, so it's been interesting trying to work with them and that kind of stuff. But I believe everything that they need has been submitted. We submitted the accident for the deer. We submitted taking 2032 off the list. We submitted the changes, so the narcotics is the last piece of the puzzle. Wednesday we had a CPR, and afterwards we took a look at our auto pulse batteries, and I learned that 5 out of the 6 of them will not hold a charge. So the batteries are end of life, and so after that call, I had to take both of our auto pulses, which are the devices we put on and does the compressions for us, so the old people don't have to do compressions. We can't use them at the moment. So today I contacted our manufacturer sales rep and said, what do you suggest we do? And he was very generous and stepped up to the plate and is going to allow us to borrow 6 batteries. So that's a plus. So he shipped them out today. So hopefully the next day or so we should have them and we can put the auto pulses back on the trucks. So that's a big plus from the Zoll rep. But we have to buy some batteries soon. Or how long is it borrow?
Whatever. Says they're end of life. Can we buy new batteries?
We can, but new batteries are like $6,000. So we can buy new auto pulse for 20. So do we throw good money at old stuff that's aging out anyway? We're looking at replacing those with the monitors and all that kind of stuff if we can get a grant. So we've got to start, looking at that a lot harder since we're borrowing these batteries. Also purchased HomeLink devices for 2034 and 51 for the bay door openers, right? Because we've always had those garage door remote openers that don't always work half the time. You got to stick them out the window and all that kind of stuff to close the bay doors. And so I think it was either last year or the beginning of this year, we bought a HomeLink and put it in 2031. We tried it. It works very well as long as the lights are off in the second due bay, but because the lights can cause interference. But they work well, a lot better than the old ones, push button. So we don't have to worry about batteries, the signal's better, all that stuff. So we're going to get those installed in the other 2 trucks to make our lives easier. And they're going to be in the 2 new ones when we get them done. So that's another positive step into the century. Don't put that in the fire police truck place, because I won't be able to use it. Okay. All right, I'll take note. One thing we're going to have troubles with is our day drivers starting next month, because a lot of our day drivers are going to Florida and some of them have already left. So we need to come up with a game plan for drivers. A couple things that I'd like to do is talk with Nikki to see what we have on the civil service left, because I would like to have you guys approve us to get 2 more paid per diem paramedics and 2 paid per diem EMTs, basics. So that way we can have additional people to help fill in when our current staff goes on vacation, that kind of stuff. Or if there's a day we can't get drivers, maybe we can get a per diem person to come in and help and support us that way. The other thing that I had Eric up on after we got here tonight is if you guys have any issues, if we do mutual aid agreements between EMS and fire department members. So some of our fire department members that are trained on the trucks and know how to drive and that kind of stuff could come and drive the ambulances during the day and when we have calls and that kind of stuff. Obviously we got to go through the paperwork for them to go from one to the other, but that way we can, potentially get a couple more people that are willing to drive and help out. So I don't know what you guys want to do, if you want to, approve go on, to civil service for the 4 per diems and, give us permission to work together to do the mutual aid agreement stuff for membership to help out drive, or what your thoughts were. So on a side note, on the fire side, 2 different fire department agencies can do mutual aid agreements between the 2 different departments. If the 2 chiefs agree to it, and then it goes to the county and they approve it. So that is something that's currently in place for departments in the county. So it would just be, between the fire and EMS in the village.
We're on the same insurance plan anyway.
Right.
Because it's all You were saying that different fire departments can do mutual aid with each other. correct by individuals. What does that, how does that work for an EMS department that's not part of the fire department? In theory, it should work the same thing because we're emergency services. It's all covered under the village insurance.
There's so many rules and stuff. I'm just curious on whether or not that everything fits.
I guess it doesn't matter, but what if our firemen belong to a different EMS squad, right? Because that's a thing.
What do you mean?
Just like you can belong to multiple EMS squads, but only one fire department.
Correct. Is the way the state law is written.
Yeah. So do we have any firemen that belong to other, I guess it wouldn't matter.
Yes.
Other
Yeah,
EMS.
there's a mutual aid agreement for coverage. So if we, technically, Mike and I agree, we both fill out the form for that member and send it to the county would sign up.
I guess it wouldn't matter because they could belong to 3 or 4 ambulance services.
Correct.
Nate's picture just popped up, so he must be thinking about this too.
So, I mean, like, I'm not sure, like, it makes sense to have a mutual aid agreement between the village's own departments. I mean, because it's just all village, right? It'd be like having an agreement with ourselves. If you and the fire chief want to work something out and the nonprofit entities are both okay with it, I don't see any issue necessarily with that. It's just making sure that whoever in the fire department is volunteering their services to drive an ambulance is properly listed as being a volunteer for ambulance purposes as well.
I guess what the theory was is to try and avoid is having them, apply and be join and go through all that stuff when they're already a member of the village fire department, just giving a mutual aid agreement, which means that, they keep up their status in the fire department, and if they're available, they could just come and drive the ambulances.
We just find a different phraseology for it.
Because the joining of the EMS is a couple month ordeal. Same as the fire department, right? Like if I say,
Yes.
I'm gonna come drive the ambulance tomorrow, I can't. Or I gotta go to your board, not your.
Yeah, we got to do the interview. They got to approve it.
Then it comes to your, so it's a couple months.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm remembering back to 2019 when the village board agreed to have the EMS nonprofit corporation be the, I'll say, sole source of volunteers, right? I mean, what you're talking about is effectively doing something slightly different than that. So again, I think, there needs to be some conversation between you and the fire chief and the nonprofits about, are they all willing to do that differently? Of course, I mean, the village board agreed to do that by resolution. The village board could change it, but I don't want to upset people any more than is necessary at times.
It could be as easy as us listing the fire department in our resolution too, or something.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to get people that, are skilled and qualified to drive to do it and not have them go through the whole process and.
That makes sense. Make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, before 2019, there was a category of drivers in the squad that they didn't have to join the whole squad.
What was it called? Fireman driver?
Fireman drivers.
This is what in what?
Before 2019.
Before we split it out.
Before they split, you could join as a driver without having to join the squad back
Well, we can certainly look at, we can certainly look at making everybody mad again by changing the rule, but changing the rule so that in
Well-
this particular way or instance, you wouldn't necessarily have to join the nonprofit part. You could, with whatever way we put it together, you could.
Yeah, I
go
mean,
over there and try.
obviously, you know, they can't vote, they can't do any other stuff, but
Yep,
they can at
they can
least
do that.
show up and serve the
There's a way
community.
for us to do that.
Well, it makes sense if they're certified on the rig and they're all on the same insurance anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably have to also be aware of the LoSAP program, right? Because I think as soon as somebody starts volunteering their services for the EMS, then they're going to be eligible for LoSAP at some point.
That's a good point.
Well, that means we have to have a LoSAP coordinator and somebody who coordinates it and organizes it and follows through with it that we don't have at the moment.
Yeah,
And all the paper.
it's on our list of stuff to work on.
So can a person qualify if they're a volunteer fireman and also sits on the board as a trustee?
We could make that a part of the resolution as well.
I might have some time.
I'd vote for reverse LoSAP, so that person has to pay the money instead of get the money.
If I could drive Uber,
But maybe we, you know, if they're mutual aid members, then they don't necessarily participate in LoSAP, and if they want to go through the effort to join in the squad, then they can get it.
One of the things you might do on this would be to obviously talk to your folks and your nonprofit organization and tell them, we have all these things and we're looking at kind of shifting the rules a little bit in these situations, and make sure they're on board so nobody's freaking out and unhappy. If you've already done that, that's great. But if
No,
you haven't,
I haven't yet. I'm
but that
coming to
might
you
be a
guys
good-
first because I'm starting at the top,
Yeah,
and
come here.
I'm sure some of them watched the video and.
Right, so let's get everybody on board. Figure out where to go.
So maybe we try to find the way, the methodology, the rule, so that a fireman, without joining the nonprofit EMS, can go over there. This is just what we're saying, and drive the ambulance. Let's see what, just double, triple check rules and this and that, and see about finding that way.
It makes logical sense.
Yeah, I mean, for me, doing the mutual aid agreement is an easy way of doing it. That way it's documented on both sides and we cover our bases.
But
Maybe
once
that's
again,
the easiest way.
Nate just objected to the phrase mutual aid.
Yeah, it's just
an MOU, some other thing, yeah.
Yeah.
whatever it's called, a method of.
Yeah, it's just the standard terminology across the county for
Yeah.
different organizations working together with membership.
Kind of like lift assist, except driver assist.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, that would make sense.
They do that, they call for lift assist.
They call
They
it
do.
Oh, all the time.
all the time.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
You guys
Well,
you guys are good, right?
Going out for drivers, that's great.
okay.
Yeah, all the 93 firemen in this room can't figure it out, but Terry can.
He gets up at 2 in the morning, it goes to 5 rounds lane.
All right,
You're
so,
married to super volunteer.
so if you don't mind, then we'll keep pursuing this and having discussions, and
Yeah.
if Nate doesn't mind
Because you're gonna lose people in February, so.
Well,
Moving along,
before that, but yeah.
or January, I bet, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
right, yeah. The driver.
Moving along.
So, all right, we'll move that along. And then the other piece is for you guys to approve us getting some more per diem.
I mean, I think we need to, like you said, because right now, well, I mean, I know our paid staff is expressed to me, because I'm technically their boss, and you are too. But they feel like they can't even be sick or take a vacation because nobody's coming to fill in.
Correct.
And of course, that brings in, be careful about, as we're gonna pay this person and this person, we got volunteers who've been driving for 36 years, and all of a sudden we're gonna pay per diem somebody over here, just how's that all gonna go?
And these aren't gonna be members, these are gonna be people off the street.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I understand the membership wants to remain a volunteer, but we need them to be stepping up and showing up to do that. And if I can't get them to step up and show up, we're in a tough spot. So, I mean, that's why these are per diem positions that can fill in when our staff wants to take vacation and that kind of stuff and help out. I mean, right now we have one per diem. You know, we just lost another one last month or something. So we need to just, get back up to having a few extra per diem folks to fill in.
They're basically on call, so it doesn't, nothing says that when you call them, they're, can come out.
So,
I mean, I don't know that we need to really motion that until you find them and we hire them.
all right.
So another, more work for you. Go out and put this all together.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in our executive session later.
Oh, not tonight.
Another thing is that I want to say thank you to Justin because he's been doing an absolutely wonderful job with their vehicles and repairs and helping us and stuff. So thank you. We're starting our QA/QA program in January with doing 3 times a year QA/QA reviews. So the first one's going to be January. And so we're going to make some progress with that with our medical director. And then the last piece I have for you that isn't on your sheets is we were forced to create a new social media account because the previous administrator didn't want to relinquish control. So we had to start a new one. And we're doing very well within, the first day and a half. We've got almost as many people as they have, maybe within 100 so far. So we're going to keep, the posts, keep communicating with the community and kind of go from there. So, if any of you in the room would be interested in, joining the emergency squad, we'd love to have you.
We have those demo derby ambulances.
Yeah. That could be a whole nother thing is, demolition derby with ambulances.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the money.
Combine motorcycles.
Yeah.
Whole new class.
Yes.
Hey, I played GTA.
And then just the last piece of our sewer issues we've been having for many years that we are running with. So, you guys have any questions?
Well, we do have another bird to kill. We have a stone.
So
That's the approval for EMS applying for a technology grant.
Yes.
Purchased 2 new laptops and 4 monitors, which are CPR machines with NXT. You know what?
Now, is this the question I have with this? Is this the village department? applying for
Who's
this
applying,
grant,
yeah.
or the nonprofit?
Read that again.
It's in here.
I'm sorry. I don't get a chance to read it.
Is it on here?
Yes,
Okay.
Does this have to do with our mannequin that we're getting?
I have no idea.
Yes,
It says 2 new laptops, 4 monitors.
Who actually put that on here?
I don't know. It was already on there from Kim, so I don't know. who-
Mike didn't put it on?
No, I didn't put it on there.
What's going on? You didn't put it on?
Maybe it was that person from whoever sent me the email earlier tonight, Rodney.
The drones put it on.
Drones.
I think I got something from Rodney too, asking
Yeah.
for help for.
Yeah, deleted its spam.
Yeah, I will.
I have to take
Of course.
Just take it.
The only thought I can think of is it could be for the new mannequin.
I don't know. This says 2 new laptops, 4 monitors.
And it says CPR machines in parentheses.
And what's NXT, please?
Great question.
Oh.
All right, so if you don't know about it,
We're not taking any action on this.
I'd say we
Should
skip
we
it.
wait?
Yeah. Find out
Yeah.
how it got on there.
Try to get you.
Okay. The other thing that I have is for the board to approve a statement that I wrote to send to the membership, which we talked about in our meeting,
In our work session.
in our work session.
Yes.
So I wrote up a thing that says, and it says written statement, but I'll read it for all to hear, I guess. It's probably not great, but I wrote it middle of the night, night. But it says, "We, the village board, would like to thank our past leadership for their contributions to the agency over the years. As we move forward in a new direction with the structure of the organization, this will allow us to continue serving the community and support our volunteered and paid members in a more professional manner. We hope that all of our members will see the new direction as a positive step and continue to help us support the mission of Owego Emergency Squad in providing the best services to our residents and people in need."
Thank you, Mike.
If you guys approve, I will send that to everybody.
I will make a
On
motion.
the app.
to approve
Yeah, that's
that.
not, that's not something that we have a motion on, but
Right.
I have to
We have
approve
one.
that. Anybody not?
Does that sound like it manages what you're all looking for at this point?
Yeah.
Is that-
If they have any
Well-
questions, they can see.
No,
It's a step in the right direction, you know?
It wasn't meant to solve all the detail problems. It was meant to just be a general.
But our work session was successful. It was positive. We have another one scheduled for all those that are interested and keep moving forward. The other question was, after we had that executive work, or not the executive work session, we had another topic of conversation. Do we want to have an executive session about it later, or?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but yeah, sure.
It was about hiring.
Yeah,
Okay.
part-time?
4 positions.
No,
Okay.
we'll talk about it later.
yeah.
I'm only staying 5 minutes in that.
5 minutes, yeah. Somebody make that motion.
Well, you can't talk.
Whatever it takes. Somebody make that motion. We'll do it
Make that
again
motion.
for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Just like the other one was 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a 5.
What's the motion?
To
Have an executive session,
on the
hiring
hiring. How does Nate want to word it?
personnel.
Personnel issues.
There we go.
Is it about a specific person?
Before you say that, can I just talk for, I need a 5-minute executive session on a real estate transaction. We can add that.
Put that in the executive session.
So Mike, is it about a specific person?
Not named yet. It's.
I mean, you don't have to name them. I mean, the only reason to go
No,
into
it's not
executive.
not a member or
Bob.
employee at this time. It's future.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's a discussion about whether to like create a position without a particular person who you are specifically talking about, it would actually be an open session discussion. You shouldn't talk about the creation of a position without a particular person in mind in private.
All right.
Yeah, it wasn't for that. It was to,
You want to just,
advice from our council,
Legal advice.
legal advice,
Attorney client.
attorney's client.
Attorney Pratt, real estate. We'll make up something.
In real estate.
I'll vote for that.
All right, so let's vote for that as executive session on attorney client and
Vote against that.
real estate transaction. Yeah, let's vote against that.
Terry, against that.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
I said. Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Dave, yes. And I vote yes if it's 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, but 10 minutes, we're out of there.
What are the cookies?
Chocolate meringues.
all right,
Very tasty.
I'll try one.
Smells so good.
I'll take one and sit down.
You'll feel better.
Anything else for EMS?
No, thank you.
Thank you guys for doing what you
Thank
did.
you very much.
Fred?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I got you. Next.
Didn't get them out here. Dirk, you should have run for it a while back.
I would
You was waiting for me, we didn't know when it was energized. I'll be short and quick. You got my memo, so I just want to say thanks for everything on Lakeside River with the fire and EMS and OPD. Everything went great Friday night. Hopefully after 3 months, we're finally done with leaves in the village. And yeah,
So the snow melts and the leaves will appear again.
yeah, hopefully they're gonna get picked up enough. And the only other thing I need to talk about is DICAT Incorporated $75,000 for the street light. I have 2 more quotes coming, but they haven't showed up yet. So I'm just giving you a ballpark idea how much the street light would cost.
Was that a total replacement?
I got them 50.
Was that a total replacement, brand new everything?
Yep.
So we've got, the repair is 30,000.
30,000. But that wasn't guaranteed if it's not wiring up in the.
So that's 30,000. The complete replacement is 75,000.
74.9.
Right, 74 now. Plus, we got more quotes coming, but they're probably gonna be closer, more.
Be more, I think it'll be more.
I'll take 50,000, stand out there with a stop and go sign.
What are,
Amen. I already have a stop sign.
Yeah.
4 stop signs are $11?
800, remember we said it's
Joking.
$800 for stop signs.
Less than $1,000 probably.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, what do we do? Because it's still flashing and it's still an issue. And it's been a long time.
How many days do we have to have it with that study done?
There's no set.
Oh, there's no set.
The 90 days is if we're going to take the light out completely.
But it's 90 days if we take the light out.
The state New York DOT says that we're our own village, we can make our own laws of what we want to do. Quote unquote, from the state.
If it was a state light, it'd be 90 days.
Correct.
Okay.
Because Endicott and Binghamton and Johnson City did a bunch of stop signs and took out their lights. And they're their own municipalities, so they got to choose. But if you were a state, then it would be that.
Okay. And it's probably been up there a couple months by now.
Yeah.
And we're still not, we haven't decided, we're still sniffing at these prices, we're gonna get some more bids, we're still trying to decide. It's not,
We need to decide pretty
the world,
soon.
no, but the world hasn't ended with the way it's running.
I think we're,
I didn't say it's great, but
it's only a matter of time eventually. Or something happens.
I really think we need to think about the 4 stop signs, seriously though.
Yeah.
we're gonna consider that, I assume.
Yeah.
Do we need to wait for the other bids?
No, we don't, I mean, they don't. They're not gonna be any cheaper, let's put it that way.
Yeah, they're not gonna be any cheaper, I'll guarantee you that.
Try to do it sooner before a major accident happens.
Yeah.
What about the parking situation there? We're gonna lose this.
You're gonna lose two parking signs, or 2 parking on each side of Church Street. Correct.
Now, what's
You
this?
lose two parking spots towards VFW, and you're gonna move the no parking from here to corner by the movie theater up. So there's nothing.
Time out,
So if we do that-
how is that the thing, the traffic and safety committee didn't propose that, where's that, what we're gonna lose?
I'm just giving you my recommendation.
Okay, I'm just checking.
If we
There
did
has
that,
to
we
be a
have to,
sign warning that there's a light, so, from corner to corner, right?
Light,
Uh,
immediate to the 4-way.
Yeah.
You can always put a stop sign ahead.
if we change that, then we have to change the local law as far as where those
Stop signs are located.
no parking here to corner.
Oh, yeah, we've written that up.
Right. If we mess with that. So that's a couple month ordeal.
Excuse me?
That's a couple month ordeal by itself to change the
Well-
local law.
I'm not guaranteeing how long this light's gonna stay yellow blinking either,
Right.
so,
Yeah, that would be an issue.
bingo.
I don't know what we do. Personally, I vote for 4 stop signs because I think it would slow everybody down. And it would be better control than $75,000.
Absolutely. With no maintenance.
And no maintenance, yeah. Stop signs are pretty low maintenance.
Correct.
But there is an issue if you stick them up right now of seeing the stop sign.
If you put them up right now and turn the light off, and people aren't expecting them, and you can't see them because you're, even no matter how many parking places we take away, they're not looking for them, you don't see them. I don't know, it's just another of the problems that we have.
Can we put up a sign that says a 4-way stop is coming?
You can put up signs to tell you that there's a 4-way sign, or you can also put up a down guy across it where the light is now with big stop signs. You could do something to that effect also.
Also, right on the street, stop.
Well, here's your problem, in front of the pink prison and all that stuff, the old pink prison, there's a bunch of cars there, it'd be hard to see a stop sign.
Yep.
Right.
That would be definite, I would think you would need something like an aerial insert to put a stop sign.
But on the street, you know how they have those?
You can put stop on it, but I wouldn't use that as your stop.
Well, no, in addition to.
Right, but what I'm saying is that if you are heading west on Main Street, it'll be very hard to see a stop sign there.
Can we just like glue stop signs to the light to fix the parking?
Well, what I'm saying, I mean, I guess there is parts where you could put an aerial of a down guy, like on the telephone pole. You can have an aerial insert pole, put a down guy and put a big stop sign. That's true.
Question, and I don't know traffic laws or whatever, but what if you made church one way going the other way? Then you'd be 1/3 of a stop sign and the.
That's a big law change. That would be a huge law change.
But it's 75 grand in your pocket.
Yeah.
But you're still gonna have problems coming from to west on Main. Because of the parking that you have so much on the north side of.
And
Sign very well.
And to Corey's point, the major traffic there on Church is the church coming to the north, not the church coming down.
Right.
That's where the problem is.
There.
What's that?
Can I ask, have you thought about doing a curb bump out on Main Street?
Please tell me you're not talking about a roundabout.
No, gosh, no.
You.
No, we have not.
No.
The answer is no, we have
A
not.
bump out where you would put the stop sign, so the stop sign is not behind the parking, but in front of the parking. So when people are parking,
You have to cut the
they run
curb.
into a curb.
You're
and
gonna probably look at.
Yeah,
You're gonna look at a lot of money by digging the road up, putting on the curb in.
Or you could do it temporarily with some, plastic bollards and something that sticks in the middle of the road and will get hit eventually, but.
Yeah. I mean, permanent is one thing, I mean, you're gonna spend X amount of dollars for that.
Yeah. I don't know what the right answer is.
So do we need traffic committee maybe to go
we-
back and look and maybe invite some of us? That would be so exciting. On the field trip.
That would be great.
But also like start really thinking about how we're gonna manage this law so that we can get this going next month.
Yeah, I think we gotta do something soon.
Yeah.
Because eventually there's gonna be an
Good
accident.
I get phone calls every day.
There's, once again, I've talked to 100 people about this and I've made a sheet up of all the possible solutions and there's really only 2, 3, 4 solutions. And the opinions are all over the place, which is fine. With spending a bunch of time and thinking about it, the Traffic Safety Committee doesn't mean that we're right or that it should be done this way. The thought process on that is that Main Street is a thoroughfare that goes, I'm not a big fan of 4-way stops all over the world stopping everybody. Main Street is the main thoroughfare and that is what should flow. Church Street is not. And so we at this time said, as much as it could have trouble, that blinking yellow and that blinking red makes Main Street flow, makes Church Street have to stop. We put those little yellow signs up that if anybody's going to bother to pay attention to anything, if they're going to bother to see the stop sign, they see the yellow sign that says cross traffic does not stop. That was our suggestion as at this time until we figure out what we're going to do about money on lights. That was the best of the solutions that we could come up with. Now, that doesn't mean that others don't think 4-way stop is a better one. That was our suggestion.
The problem is with that blinking yellow light, people go zooming past it. They don't slow down. That's the problem. That's what a blinking yellow light means. I mean, in every manual that I've read since.
Well, interesting. Yeah, that's true. Of course, when it was red-green, when it was green, people went winging through there. They didn't slow down.
That's different. I mean, the other
That's
side,
good. Yeah.
it's red, it stopped. But
Yep.
Blink in yellow, slow down, caution, yield, and all those definitions.
We
are
get
still legitimate in the manual. It's just that, and these are people who are residents that are doing this really, because they think they know.
Well,
They've been doing it for so long.
Personally,
I mean, out of towners won't do that. They'll go according to what the manual says, slow down, yield.
Personally, I think that traffic light was there way back for a reason, because you can't see in that intersection. So if we just turn it to a normal stop sign on Church Street, that's kind of, we're fighting that same problem back in.
Kind of.
Somebody put a red light there for a long time ago.
Even if you're coming down there with a horse and buggy, you still yield.
There weren't any stoplights with opposite buggies, Charles. Stop. I just think, like, if we have to work with some of the parking spaces, that, might be the key. I just think $74,900 or anything close to it is totally unacceptable.
Which is interesting, no, because I'm not in favor of that, but a number of residents have said, for safety, we need a red-green light there. That's what we need to have. If you want to talk safety, if each safety is a different level, that's the safest. And there are people that are adamant that that's what we have there. And they're saying, well, you can spend this much money on this and that much money on that. Safety there's no number. I'm just saying what they say.
I know, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't have the money for a red light.
we don't have the money for red light, so.
We don't have the money for 90 Temple
We
Street.
have the money for 4 stop signs. And we can lose a few parking spaces, and I'm sorry, people.
We have the money for, somebody sues us because we had an accident there, we didn't resolve this.
Probably not.
I suppose somebody could sue us for our having a light that works a certain way. Yeah, anybody can sue us for anything. But anyways, back to the parking spaces. We've looked that over and tried to come to a compromise of how many parking spaces we don't want to lose downtown, which is 0. We don't want to lose any. So anyway, it's less than Fred's looking at. But it's something. Because we looked at that quite a bit and trying to figure out the vision and stuff, going someplace else. That coming out of Page Street and illegally we took the going down to downtown, coming out of Page Street, we took the no parking here to corner sign out. And isn't it wonderful? Yeah, you can see for 1.5 miles, except we just took out all the parking spaces there for the people that live there. There's a compromise between taking out parking spaces and what's logical, and because you can't take out enough parking places for people to see at every corner.
We had some parking spaces in that pit, we got some parking. So those parking spots that we lose, park in the pit.
Sure. No, that's a great idea.
Show
That's a great idea. We got a Hyde parking lot that's 12 feet, I exaggerate, 12 feet from Lake Street, and nobody parks in it because they don't want to walk 12 feet. They're not parking in the pit. They're just not going to do it. I want to go to Confection Connection, but I'm going to park in the pit. No. Anyway, where are we?
So we talked about that.
Hey, let's go over, come over, get some people, come over, look at it, talk to me and stuff. Let's.
Because it really needs to be done.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thanks, Freddie.
Nate, the local law 19532, where are we at with that?
Drafted, presented to the board. You folks need to schedule a public hearing based on the timing of the planning board's meeting, which will occur at the end of January. I would suggest your public hearing take place your first meeting in February. That'll make sure the planning board's advisory opinion can come in and the county 239 review is also back.
Okay.
Do we have a schedule for the 239? Do we know anything about it?
Yeah, Nate's been.
Yeah, it'll be submitted after you folks schedule the public hearing. Their deadline for get on the county planning board's agenda is the first Friday of each month. So we'll plenty of time to make their January meeting.
So if we schedule for first meeting in February, we're good,
If
right?
our planning board can get after it and give it to us. Public hearing first meeting in February.
Someone needs to schedule that, or set a motion to schedule.
So we'll give that a shot, and if we have to change it, we will.
Right.
We have a public hearing on local law number, actually, it'll be the first one of 225 at the moment, local law number 125, et cetera, on the first village board meeting in February. 7 o'clock.
We got a second to that? Sure. Okay. Any discussion about just setting the public hearing? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
No.
Dave? Yes. Terry?
Yes.
Chuck? Yes. And yes. Okay. That was easy. We got to bump the budget.
I didn't see that.
Taking some money from insurance.
Where's that?
In the middle of the new business.
I'll make a motion to bump the budget for the insurance recovery. And I assume that's the deer accident? Yes.
I'm not sure, might be.
This is for our ambulance that got
Yeah.
creamed and we're only getting $3,000 for that?
Probably.
What the heck?
3,000 for the repair, the potential repair cost.
For the ambulance?
Yeah.
I banged I'll second the motion. I banged a fender on my car and got $5,000 for the repair. What's that? That's absurd for that ambulance being destroyed.
I don't know what our deductible.
Maybe it's not for that.
I don't know what our deductible.
What was that?
That's the right date for it.
What, Terry?
That would be the right date.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what our insurance deductible is. It could be why we're only getting $3,000.
Did they total that?
Should have
Sent
thought.
out for re-chassis.
Well, we signed up for re-chassis. I don't know if the insurance company told
The
me.
insurance company,
That'd have been
they just.
$20,000 to fix
Right.
that.
Repairing it.
Anyway, they're giving us $3,000.
Yeah.
All right, we got a motion and a second to take it in. Rusty?
Are we still in discussion? Yeah, Rodney, you know anything about that? Is that for the ambulance?
I'm not 100% sure if that's for the ambulance.
I don't know if that means we're accepting or fighting that or what we're doing with that. If there was, I would not want to accept that if we had a way not to accept that, if that's what that's for.
Hold on.
I don't, okay.
Vehicle repair.
That would be the ambulance.
Yes.
The pictures I got from Roden were November 15th.
Do we have any recourse on that?
Well, the thing is, we probably already got the money.
Yeah, I'm sure we've probably already got the
We
check.
got the money. They're just pumping the money, put it back into the account. Got the money.
Yeah, I heard what you said. We got the money. Yeah, they sent us the money. Do we have a way to say that's not, we don't appropriate, that's not enough, that's not good? I don't know.
Your insurance adjuster now?
Well,
What?
Your insurance adjuster, you want more money?
Please don't do that.
my question is,
Please don't do that.
You're doing the same, so don't do it.
What?
Well,
my question is,
Stop it, Rod. So, for me,
my question is, what's our deductible? We may have a $10,000 deductible.
Oh, that would be-
yeah, I'm just questioning that amount of money from insurance for that kind of a wreck. I don't know.
That was a fender and a grill, maybe a bumper.
And a headlight.
and the door.
The door.
Any engine.
Who knows?
Okay, I'm just,
Me neither.
Yeah, it seems low.
It does seem low, but
But,
I guess we can check into the reasons why it's low. But we want to take the check we got and put it in the account. That's what's on the.
But some insurance person came and took, saw the pictures, saw the vehicle person, sent the check. Now we just need to adjust our budget.
That's
That's what we're doing.
process.
That's what
Well,
I was just curious about how it all went and how it works and if you cash a check, then does that mean you accepted it and then now it's too late? I don't know how any of this stuff works. Okay. Okay.
We'll just take it up.
No, I'm-
Take it up.
When it goes into vehicle repair, that's for the EMS vehicle repair?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the E's are EMS.
Okay, thank you.
Our other G's.
Pretty good.
I don't think that's why they're E and G, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe they are.
G for general.
Anyways, I raised my concern and now move along wherever we're going.
We had a motion a second to accept the money. Any other discussion? Other than we will check it because to me, it seems like maybe our deductibles will get higher or something, which it may be. Rusty.
No.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
Yeah, I guess understanding the deductibles would be good.
Yeah.
But
You're the insurance person on the top of the page.
Terry.
We'll get your
Thank you.
copy.
Can we,
Yeah, you got it.
Call partner, no, they're not partners anymore, Smith Brothers. That's our
Yeah.
insurance guy. All right. Payment of bills, which is 12/2 through 12/16. Everybody get them? Anybody have any questions?
Pay the bills.
Pay the bills.
I'll make the motion.
Making the motion, pay the bills. We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
All right, any discussion about the bills?
They gotta be paid.
Gotta be paid. Yeah. Vote on the bills. Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Dave. Yes. And yes. Next one is treasurer's report. Everybody got it? So this is just a motion to accept it, not necessarily like the numbers in it.
I'll motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Okay, any discussion about it? I need to do my deep dive, which I haven't done in a couple months. We'll do that.
I always like to know that you've been through it good.
No, I looked through it, but I didn't ran through all my Excel stuff. I will. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
Biggest thing in that is that we took out $1 million plus to pay back part of our loan. We borrowed $3 million for this DRI. The state owes us $2 million. You know, we're paying interest on this stuff and they don't seem to want to pay us. It's been like 6, 8, 9 months. I mean, you know, I've called their office. I'm gonna call the congressman, our new congressman, who'll do it next. We'll talk to Nick Lane. I mean, if they have a problem with part of it, they can't have a problem with a whole $2 million. You know, they're holding us up because they have a little glitch, as they said, in something. So it's kind of like the client, you know, when they deny, just, what's it to them to pay us? You know, if they don't pay us, they make more money.
Yeah, so it's all waiting on that big budget amendment that we need to get them to move forward and approve.
So I'll try to jack them up a bit. Okay.
You want to talk about the other thing?
Real estate?
Yeah. Do you want to just announce it out there? For sale?
This is, I have
Okay. Okay, you got it figured out. Okay, never mind. Let's move on to the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes from our December 2nd meeting and our special EMS.
Yeah, I didn't get to making some soft changes in there, but I would for the December 2nd one. But I would motion to approve the December 12th minutes as presented.
Second to 12.
All right, we're doing 12.
I second the approval of that.
Okay.
Those minutes were very brief.
Yeah.
Well done.
They were well done.
Mike took those. No offense, Rodney. Mike took those. Had a meeting, adjourned,
Yep.
Did nothing.
Did nothing. And we adjourned. Okay,
We did a lot.
like every meeting.
let's vote on those. Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Just hold off on the other one until next week. And then-
Yep.
On the second?
Yep.
Okay.
So you had a bunch of things on there.
There was just like, there was just like a few slight things here and there.
No, you gotta be ready. You can't be doing this.
You send them in the last, we'll take care
All right.
of it. All right.
Trustee reports. Dave.
Didn't get I failed and didn't get a moment to catch Dirk this afternoon, or last week, so I apologize for that. So, although just wishing everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yes. Rusty.
Yes, I've got a couple of things here. Rod asked me to clear this up with the board tonight, and so I'm going to. We voted to pay each of our part-time employees $800 of ARPA money. And Rod, I've got my pocket here, generated a list of people. I wanted to check, because a lot of them were police, and I wanted to check with the police department, make sure. I assume that the girls did a fine job, and checked and made sure everybody worked then and is still there and did their 100 hours. But I wanted to check with the police department. They weren't sure about it, but once again, we'll assume that they did right, and those people will have been paid, I assume. Okay, so when we paid the full shot ARPA to the folks last year, we paid any full-time employees, we gave them $1,600. They had to have worked in ARPA, they had to still be employed. And we included in that it didn't have to be a union member, we included a department head, Tracy. No problem, that's fine, that's what we did. We did not, in this one that we just did, include the part-time police chief who had worked through COVID and worked a bazillion hours.
Which I think we would have covered, like, whether we paid him or not, but we should have, I think.
With the $800 ARPA money.
Because we just said, we didn't approve a list, we just said anybody who fits that category.
We did, we said we had a list, but he did not get put into that list. So what I'm getting at is he doesn't get the $1,600 as a part-time employee, but he should be on that $800 list.
Correct.
As all the other part-time employees. So I'm asking that we either.
Yeah, we can do a quick motion just to.
If you want to do a motion, Rodney, make it clean that the police chief is included in the $800 ARPA payment, so moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave. Yes. Terry.
Absolutely yes.
Charles.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I have one other thing, and sorry, Mike, I just thought about this a little bit ago, and so I didn't get a chance to talk to you. I would like you to consider, or us to ask you to, or vote for you to do, to commemorate Richie Watkins officially at this village board. Richie Watkins, lifetime resident here. If anybody knows him, knows the funeral, knows all that stuff, knows all this stuff. That was a nice story in the Penny Saver about him. Done a million things for this village. Boy, the thing he did during the flood when he, in the street in front of his house, opened up a soup kitchen for months on his dime with other people's help, taking care of everybody, just fabulous. Was on the village board. I wish Fran was here because before this, and I wish Peter was here, before our latest group of really caring cemetery people, he cared about the cemetery, was influential in getting that $350,000 grant that he was not happy, and many of us others were not happy, that we never used for years and years and years. Cared about that cemetery, tried to do that. Wanted to serve as mayor, ran for mayor in a different time he'd have been mayor. So I would like you to issue a proclamation that not the same day every year, just this year, one time, we have whatever we call it, Richie Watkins Commemoration Day. And in the spirit of Richie, I'd love you to do this, and I'd love you to do it tonight. And in the spirit of Richie Watkins, I'd like that, and he just passed away here at the end of November, I'd like that day this year to be November 31st.
Reason?
Yes, because it's Richie, and there is no November 31st.
All right.
And I think Richie would love that. Would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah, we can do anything you want.
Well, you'd have to issue the proclamation,
We can do that.
word it however you want, but I'd love to have that. But so I move that the mayor issues a proclamation for Ricky Watkins Day. And he can fill in the details.
Sure you don't want to make it February 29th?
I thought about that, but I thought about that. But nope. I move that.
He was a colorful man.
Yes, he was.
That's a good word. That didn't come up today.
Somebody seconding that?
Did not?
Who seconded?
I'll second that.
How the word came up with colorful.
He was part of the Owego color. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we had so many stories we wanted to tell.
Oh, we got a motion for me to do a proclamation. Okay.
November 31st, 2024.
Okay. I gotta figure out when I'm doing that.
Do it, what? I'm sorry. Well, do it as soon as you.
Rusty?
Well, you can issue it right now verbally or whatever you want to do. Whatever. Yes.
Well, we'll write it up and do
Yeah.
it for Karen.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I vote yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
I have some pictures out on Ross Street during
Oh.
post-flood time. Just 3 or 4, because I was going through pictures, I found them.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, we were all pretty muddy.
Yepper. And just the last little piece back to it. People will remember this because when they see the November 31st, they'll say, "What? Those idiots, what the heck?" It'll be something that someone will think about. All right.
Okay. So you're good?
Mm-hmm.
Charles?
I've covered everything.
Okay. Laura?
Okay.
Hopefully quick.
So we had a BRIC DTA meeting today where we're talking about getting ready to have their assistance to fill out 2 grant applications for us. One would be for a building codes plus up, where we would be asking to hire staff, a CFM and a zoning administrator for 3 years to purchase software for us to manage code and floodplain and zoning software, and for comprehensive review and implementation strategy for code, floodplain management, and local approvals, procedures, and review. And then also a protect grant for an evacuation route, or which is also known as a emergency access road for the wastewater treatment plant. So, as you know, the culvert is an issue because of its condition. It's been yellow tagged for over 10 years, and it's got big cracks in it, and the highway has now changed to an interstate, and there's a lot of commerce that travels over that, and we have a situation, that could collapse or whatever, and so we're working to address the culvert. We have put out white papers for the state up to Schumer's office to explain the problem and ask for the state support. And the state has done, state DOT has done some sort of engineering studies looking at it. We're waiting to get that in paperwork, but they already estimate about $7 million for that repair or replacement. And it's not currently in their plans and their timeline to replace. And so we're looking for some, for more support to push that. And we're examining the routes that we need to do that, certain meetings to go to and votes, and how like there's the Binghamton MTS, and there's meetings, and so for us to attend those meetings and vote for ourselves to get funding for our area as part of that strategy. And then for the access road, it would be for us to, like, so I've spent a little bit of time at the treatment plant trying to get some information about like all the reasons why to support why we need it. So they have issues with, when we did the improvement, they do have to do some routine maintenance every 3 to 5 years, and they haven't been able to do that because they need these large trucks to come in, these tankers to suck out the water so that they can get in to clean it. So they can't get the size trucks in to do it. And so many years ago, they had 2 feet of rags at the bottom and sedimentation and stuff. Now it's grown to over 6 foot, right? And at some point in time, we will need to organize to clean and have that taken out. If we could build a road and have like the big tanker trucks, maybe they could do this in a week. If we don't, we'd have to take it offline, and it might take us months, and we'd have to figure out timing. So like we have our haulers have a lower time, January, February, March, but we'd have to figure out limiting our usage of, or some our water situations. And so it's an issue that we have to work on, right? And so also you can't put like a fire truck or other emergency response vehicles. You can fit an ambulance, but not the fire trucks. But they do have chemicals and other things there, and they could have accidents. And so it would be responsible for us to make sure that we have access to the plant for that. And then also if something happens with the culvert, or even if we get to replace it, we need to have access to the plant to continue operations. And so for so many reasons, we need to get working on this. And so one of our grants would, or one of these things would be to look more at our critical infrastructure and evaluate what we need to prioritize, what we need to look at, and get more information. And so all of these grants will, if we got them, they would need a 10% match. So we're a disadvantaged community and 90% of everything would be paid for. But we would have to find a 10% match. And so we would need to prepare ourselves that when we're doing work, that we need to put a little of ours in. And we can match with in-kind work from our people, our staff, if we can do that work. So we might not have people who can, we might have some people who can do some of the work, but we might have to put cash money down for the match for whatever we can't in kind.
So I'll just remind that any sort of grant that we go for needs to come and get pitched, and we need to all decide that we're gonna go for that grant.
Right? So, but,
Rather than just a committee deciding, the
right.
committee doesn't do that.
So me telling you tonight is saying that we'd like to work on these and with your approval to send them out in a few months once they've developed the package, the packages of what we're asking for. But to be prepared that we would have to try to find a little bit of money so that we can get all this work done for us.
I would say I'd want to see all the details of what's a little bit of money, what's, before we send it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta come back and
Right.
pitch it.
Yeah, so it
You're
will be coming.
preliminary pitching it now, but you gotta come back.
Yeah. So I want you all to be aware that these are huge things that we're working on, and we will benefit greatly from having the information, from doing, from examining our situation, getting the scoping work and analysis done so that we can tackle the problems. So with these grants, they would help us to identify how we can fix our problems. And then I need to finalize a document with the mayor for our information sharing with the federal government. So they will give us information to do our work. Some of it's like repetitive loss, some of it's severe repetitive loss, some of it is, hold on.
Was this the paperwork Jardine was talking about?
You've got a lot of pages there.
Yeah, I do. Hold on, I've got it. I've got it right here. So some of the things we'll ask them for is information that they will provide to us once, hopefully. They will give us the degree of financial burdens that we would expect to assume in the event of a flooding disaster within our jurisdiction. So they would tell us like the prices of how much certain events could cost us. To further our outreach and education activities within our jurisdiction. Part of this agreement helps us do that. To conduct research, analysis, and feasibility studies of policies and claims within our jurisdiction. So we'll get information on repetitive loss, active policies, claims, compiled disaster data, increased costs of compliance claims, and NFIP property violations. Evaluation of critical infrastructure to ensure operations during and after flooding events. And benefits of regarding, we'd educate on flood risks, resilience, and the benefits of CRS participation. And some of it is also personally identifiable information, which requires an extra level of security. So some members, we would just have to be careful with sharing our information that we've seen about when they identify certain households or areas where we might need to warn people of potential dangers. Like, so if we discover that certain properties are in the floodway, then Mick, as a floodplain administrator, has to write a letter and warn them. And so this would enable him to have the addresses of the properties of the people who are in those sites. And so anyways, it's a lot of stuff. I'll get the
Send
document to you.
Whatever they want, and then we'll have Nate look at it and see what he thinks.
Okay.
And probably IT.
Okay, and then I'm working on the CDC grant. I have all the quotes. I have the quotes for most everything, and I'm getting them. I've sent them to NYSERDA. I'm gonna have a meeting this week, and then hopefully I'll be able to start making some of the purchases, like the landscape equipment.
How's the car coming?
It's an issue. It's an issue to get the.
It's an issue?
It's an issue to get the quote and the state bids, the price for that. I am working on that. We are going to schedule the Cadmus energy audit of the wastewater treatment plant. I need to go over and fill out a form of all the equipment that's in the facility ahead of time. So I'm going to do that. And then we'll see about the audit. I attended several meetings since our last meeting. We had a climate energy communities meeting with all the other communities that are served in the southern tier. And we got to hear like what their successes were, what projects they were working on, what issues people had. So that was really good to hear from other places. And we are cooking. There's like 2 other communities that are like past us, but we're really cooking at activities and a star at what we're doing. I attended an elective pay meeting about learning about spending our grant money, the BRIC DTA meetings, and the Climate Smart Communities Task Force. And I have started talking to some members of our community who are willing to work on the faith-based actions. So some of the people from the churches from our FEMA visit who they want to work at like either getting stuff for their own buildings and also for offering more community services like the heating and cooling centers, the tree plantings, and stuff like that of the hazard mitigation plan. So that's exciting that more people want to step up to join. And that's my report.
Jerry.
Okay, we had an OHPC meeting on December 5th. We had no new applications that night. We talked a little bit about certified local government. We also talked about the interactive kiosks that we were kindly given the brochures on. Doesn't seem to be, well, interestingly enough, the ones in St. Louis, I had some people go out and look at them for me. They are in the commercial district. And the city was encouraged to put them in because they were tied to emergency phones in the area. So kind of like on college campuses where you have emergency phones in different places, they did that. And it's mostly because this area is actually not truly safe to be in. So I found it very interesting that they would even be interested in putting in kiosks with historic district information in an area that isn't like someplace you'd want to go hang out in the evening or something. So that was kind of an interesting find. But it is in a commercial district. It is not in a residential district. It is far away from people's living space. And they also had received, the person that went and looked for them also said the city had received some funding to maintain them, which I guess has been also a key thing. So that might be something we might really think about if it ever was approached to us to actually do something like that. It sounds like the maintenance can be quite pricey. So, and
Makes sense.
yeah. So anyway, that is my report at the moment, unless there's something to forget something.
Not really. Most of the interactive kiosks on Washington DC are going to be inside museums.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
which will help with the maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but exterior ones do not sound like this. These sound like they've had issues,
Yeah, they probably did.
and we don't want issues
Oh,
more than we
right.
already have.
Yeah.
And yes, Rusty.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no.
I'm trying to kiosk questions. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
that was given to us by the Legion, right?
Yeah.
The kiosking. So that's all fine, but that was evidence and argumentative to show, oh, those are historic districts, love them and everything, and it's wonderful and it's everything. And it's turning out not, nice try, guys, not necessarily
New
so.
York State is installing 20 of them.
Yeah.
That's part of our 2025, their 100 years of history or whatever
Yep.
thing they're doing. But they're all inside in
Yeah.
museums.
There you go. So, yeah,
Yeah.
So that whole cell was
Not
a
single one in the
cell.
Residential district.
It was a cell.
But it was interesting to learn about.
Yeah, you know, well, you thank you for doing the research, because that's how we get this stuff.
They are cool.
Okay, thank you.
Down to me. Oh, yeah, so we got a communication from, remember a meeting or two ago, Jim Victor came here to present maybe applying for a grant for some more electric car chargers. And in doing their research, they determined that it's unlikely that we would receive that grant, so I guess we're not going forward with that. Rusty?
I'm going to make a motion that we withdraw our approval for the, whatever it was, Value Stack Energy or whatever, to go out for this grant. This letter, once again, all our people work hard and we love them, except this letter insinuates or says that it's up to the task force to decide that we're no longer going to pursue that grant. And that's not the case. It's up to us to decide. We voted to pursue it, and it's up to us to decide not to pursue it. So I'm going to move that we do not pursue that grant with Victor.
I'll second that, because I agree. It would not be fair to have them put time and effort into this application. And I don't think we realized how many the county was putting in and where they were putting them either at that point. So this seems to be a redundancy.
Right. I agree. So we have a second to that?
And a slight discussion just on that's not exactly on that motion, but he mentions later that if we wanted to go after the far less expensive twos, he might be very willing to help do that, because that would be a different situation.
Right.
But that's not this.
Right. Because we were looking at level 3 chargers in the Hyde lot, but with what the county is doing,
yeah,
we probably won't get that, at least this year.
Right, and they're digging and doing it now.
They're doing it
Yeah.
now.
Good.
All right, Terry?
Yes.
Chad?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Yes. And yes. Okay, another letter I got was from Nikki. And I'm just gonna read it. This is an interesting one that we probably need to talk to Nate about.
Our Nikki.
Our Nikki. So there's an inquiry to discuss sick pay versus holiday pay. Recently, an officer called off sick on a day he was scheduled to work as a holiday, which by their union contract is straight time plus time and a half. It was processed through the payroll as straight time, and as a full-time officer for 10 hours, no sick time was deducted. Please see the below email, which there isn't one. Should an officer be paid 2.5 times their rate if they call off on a holiday they are scheduled to work? There are no clear guidelines in this matter in the contract, the PBA contract. Can the board please discuss this matter per the officer's request?
The only question, you must work the day before and the day after.
So that's something we talked to Nate about.
Work.
Those are
Call off.
those
you're
are
not
kind of
working.
standard things, but
Right.
we don't have them in the contract.
Right.
So if you call off, you're not working.
Mike, would you just email me or forward me that email? I'm not sure that this is necessarily an appropriate topic for the board to discuss until I've had a chance to really look at it.
Right.
And then even then, it's always going to be an issue of contract interpretation. Only if the board was willing to do an MOU with the union itself to clarify any alleged ambiguities would there be a need for the board to discuss anything.
Okay. Anyway, that's a thing.
I'm thinking that same thing. If it's specific to an individual, that's not something we should be talking about. If it was just general, how does the union rules work, that'd be something different.
Well, that is the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
The question is, if somebody calls off on a holiday, what is not clear in there? What do we feel?
Yeah, so Mike, that's why I'm saying I need to read the contract and the question specifically to really understand whether it is actually ambiguous or if in fact it's actually clear.
You can bet it is.
Okay. So we'll work on that. And my other report is I have a meeting on Thursday with county IT to get a better microphone set up for our video thing.
Mic'd up.
Finally. It's only taken like 8 months. Anyway. That's all I got.
You have any meeting come up there?
Oh, yes, and we have a meeting, it's not a village board meeting, although I guess anybody's invited, but there's a meeting Wednesday with the residents of Armstrong Place and Main Street about the common ground
Where's the meeting, Mike?
here.
Is it open to the public?
Nobody
I mean, it's not a village board meeting, I guess, but
Right.
several people that don't live there wanted to know if they could
Right.
come.
Well, you can go.
Okay.
7 o'clock here.
What we talking
Meeting with the residents of the area and Renewal Ranch and that whole situation. Sorry, Mike, I jumped in.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's not common ground anymore.
What kind of meeting is it? Are they just like using this room?
Yeah, so we're helping facilitate a discussion between the Renewal Ranch and the neighbors. Because there's
And the
not
community.
good communication.
Okay.
Informational. Sorry, I jumped in again, sorry.
There's been alleged not good communication between Renewal Ranch and the neighbors.
So
So we're helping put that together.
who's facilitating it? Are you gonna run that?
Yeah, it's me and code.
Okay.
Gonna be chaired by one of our homeless guys.
Maybe. We fed them breakfast.
Yeah. Full and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike was over there cooking breakfast on Sunday.
I was trying to get to know the issue.
You get the homeless.
Homeless vote, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get that.
His wife threw him out and he.
Right, yeah, I
He
was
was
checking
over
out my new, no. More nights I spend here till midnight, I'm gonna have to start going over there to eat.
Speaking of which, holiday lunch Friday.
Who was it?
Oh, yeah.
What's this, please?
Friday, Friday, just hot dogs.
So we have an employee party coming up Friday for the village employees and board.
Do you need cookies?
You want to make cookies? That'd be awesome.
We won't say no.
Reminder.
We have, I think we have a little cake.
Who's catering? Phil's or somebody?
Me and Rodney,
Mayor and I cooking it.
You guys are cooking it?
we're cooking.
Nice.
Hey, hot dogs and hamburgers. Yeah.
So this is, what time?
Noon.
Noon on Friday.
Great.
Phil's the mayor of cookies.
Cindy sent an email.
Russ, you'll get that email in 2020.
All right, public comment.
We have,
Oh. Mike?
Our next EMS work session,
Yes.
Thursday, January 9th, 8 o'clock, right here.
I thought we said 7.
I thought we were, or.
I thought we were going 6.
I'm sorry,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock,
It's
yeah,
got
we're going
1800,
early.
that's what it was.
6 till midnight.
Yes, 6 o'clock.
yeah,
Yes, what day did you say?
January 9th, Thursday.
I'm sure somebody puts it on the board.
January
I think we already did, but I'll check.
Thursday,
There's nothing.
6 p.m.
Did we write it on there yet? If not, we better.
Yes, squad board meeting.
Oh, yeah, it's already up there. I thought we did. Okay. Yeah, 6 o'clock here.
we bring the wings.
And that is a village board meeting, just a work session.
Okay.
Okay. We gotta still do that executive session. Public comment, anything?
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna go home.
Can we go with it?
Thanks for
You
staying.
gotta finish your executive session before.
10 minutes, I told him.
Thanks for staying, Pete. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
I'll shut the door.
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, Nate, I guess we'll kick Rodney out and I'll call you.
He's got part of this.
Rodney's gonna be here for the real estate piece.
Oh, that's right. Don't do it yet. You gotta turn this thing off. So Nate, we're gonna turn this off and call you, and then we'll talk about the real estate and then the other thing.
Oh, so we gotta get rid of Mike for the real estate.
All right. Just for the
And then
real
call you
estate.
back in.
Can I do EMS first?
He's gonna-
No.
Mine could be 2 seconds.
You could, except that yours is gonna be a lot.
All right.
You're gonna.
I'm gonna end the recording though, because we're not expecting any action.
You already have 45.
I'll go get a drink. I already got 45 minutes.